Boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic week wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. I came across this article on Twitter. It's with regards to Hillary Clinton, the former presidential candidate, probably the biggest not underdog, opposite of underdog, favorite to lose in perhaps the history of America, quite frankly. And she has some comments as to the potential failure of democracy in America. So we will take a look at that article. But before we look into that, I want to ask you guys to hit that subscribe button, help your boy out. At the very least, like, comment, share. You know the drill. And without further ado, let's get into this. So here it is, guys. The article is from, let's see here, Financial Times. And, you know, you got to be careful with all these things. You know, I don't know much about Financial Times, which way they lean. You know, to be honest, I'm probably going to figure that out over the course of this fucking article on Hillary Clinton. But let's dive in. And by the way, this is by Edward Luce. Here we go. Here we fucking go. Lunching with Hillary Clinton is no routine affair. When I arrive at Washington's sleek Park Hyatt Hotel, the somewhat jittery manager steers me to a discreet side door to await her arrival. After several minutes of awkward small talk, it turns out Clinton already came through the front entrance and has been seated for some minutes. Oops. They whisked me past her Secret Service detail to a semi-enclosed dining area of the Blue Duck Tavern, the hotel's Michelin-starred, locally sourced restaurant. Okay, so Hillary Clinton eats good. Got it. Clinton is chatting with Nick Merrill, her longtime aide, who stayed on with her after she stepped down as Secretary of State in 2013. Our engagement has taken a while to germinate. Partly this is because Clinton is so often on the road. She has just come back from the UK, where she spoke at the Hay Literary Festival and met an American who helped to organize the Queen's Jubilee celebrations. The team were so nervous, she says, but it went off without a hitch, right? This encounter also took some coaxing because Clinton, to put it mildly, does not exactly adore the media. Bullshit. Hillary Clinton fucking loves the media. Hillary Clinton, the only reason that she didn't get beat by a larger margin is because the media loves her and she loves the fucking media. Who are we kidding here? Let's continue. I point out that for all my columns criticizing her ill-fated 2016 campaign, I never told her what to wear or when to smile. Unsolicited advice in which many male pundits seem to revel. Great. So great. So this is going to be another fucking Smash the Patriarch article. Great. Yeah, because somehow it's different as a woman when you offer advice on what to wear, what not to wear. But when a guy does it, it's just pure shit. It's terrible. Yeah, right. That's funny how that works, huh? That puts you in a small minority, she says, laughing. Ha ha ha. It is thus with studied indifference that I describe Clinton as wearing a trademark gray pantsuit and a substantial silver and pearl necklace. Blah. She seems to have no trouble smiling. Okay. I consider it my goal to get Clinton to remove the mask she dons for interactions with people like me. Mutual friends say that in private, she is funny and can be bittingly sarcastic. I fucking doubt that. I doubt that. Are you kidding me? These people are some of the most boring fucks in the world. Okay. That's why Donald Trump won, because he was the real deal. What you saw is what you got. Okay. So what are you saying here? That she's fake? She's funny, but she's fake. Is that what you're saying? She's funny, but she's fake. Okay. Gotcha. How is that good? So what you're saying is that she has a certain persona that she portrays to the American public, which is total bullshit. How is that good? How is that good, Luce? Huh? How is that good, Luce? Come on. Who are we kidding here? Come on. American media colleagues have a very different take on a woman with whom they have been feuding for decades. She has faced a generation of fruitless inquiries, starting with the 1990s probe into the Clintons, Whitewater real estate investment that culminated in Kenneth Starr's report on her husband's sexual indiscretions, then the Benghazi hearings into the killings of a U.S. ambassador and 3 other Americans under her watch in 2012. And most recently, this very day, in fact, the acquittal of a Clinton campaign legal advisor on the charge that he improperly influenced the FBI to investigate links between Donald Trump's campaign and the Kremlin. Clinton has described herself as the most investigated innocent person in America. What a joke. What a joke. What a joke. Number one, just because nothing came of any of those investigations doesn't 100% mean that you are innocent. Okay. It's very hard to prove something in the past. And then secondly, let's be honest here. None of the investigations had the type of access that Donald Trump or the people who looked into Donald Trump were given. Okay. And furthermore, I would argue that no, Donald Trump is the most innocent, highly investigated person in America. She is also a doyen of practiced legalese, which could smother this lunch before it gets going. Oh my God, what the fuck are we even talking about here? Gosh, your guys' lives are so boring. I can't even believe I'm reading this article. What am I doing? A glass of wine would make sense, though. Oh, I really like wine, but not today, says Clinton. This reads like some fucking chick, girls' day. I want some wine, but not today, though. I love wine, but not today, though. Never knowing what they want. But I'm a happy observer of other people's drinkings. So you go ahead. Meryl and I simultaneously agree and each order a glass of Chancery. Clinton goes for iced tea. She asks the waitress whether the chilled summer green soup is cream-based or pureed. By the way, who are we kidding? We all know that Clinton had a glass of wine. And for fuck's sake, she probably had several glasses of wine even before this lunch. Who are we kidding here? Gosh, this country is just wretched. It is just wretched, full of wretched people. She asked the waitress whether the chilled summer green soup is cream-based or pureed. I note that one of her most recent, see, that's why blacks didn't vote for her, because they read shit like this and they're like, how the fuck can we get behind this white broad who asked a waiter whether it's chilled or pureed? I note that one of her most recent meals was fish and chips at a traditional chippy in England's Tyneside after she had delivered a lecture nearby. I have to confess, I thought chips were kind of fancy potato chips, she says. I thought that they were with round cuts of potatoes. You call them chips, but they're fries. We're still divided by a common language, I suggest. This prompts Clinton to talk about her paternal genealogy. From the gritty mining towns of Northeast England, yeah. Just because you're from there doesn't mean that you weren't one of the elites from there, Hillary. Come on. Of Northeast England, her great-grandfather, Jonathan Rudham, was a coal miner recruited to cross the Atlantic with his family in the 1880s. They settled in Scranton, Pennsylvania. The office. He quickly switched to a job at a lace-making factory. Clinton is puzzled why people are so nostalgic about the mining life. Whether they were from West Virginia or Tyneside, their lives were so grim and disease-prone and unhygienic. You know why, Hillary? Because the hard work that seeps into their skin, in their bones, is there to stay. The unbridled chance of success after working so freaking hard, nothing matches it. And that's really what separates men from women. Is men, we have so, some men have so much testosterone going and so much war going on on the inside of us while remaining stoic. We need to have things that are at stake. We need things that are at stake. She would never understand that. And so basically what she's saying there is she looks down on coal miners. Gotcha. Some people blame Clinton's 2016 loss on her remarks about putting coal mines out of business. Trump promised a mining boom. But identifying one culprit for her 2016 defeat is like murder on the Orient Express. The dagger is covered with fingerprints. In her memoir of that campaign, What Happened, Clinton takes the primary blame and also points to the FBI's investigation into her home server emails, her gaffe about half of Trump's base being deplorables, and his skill at giving the media a new rabbit every day, knowing they'd never catch any of them. No. Trump won because he was more authentic, he was funnier, he was more talented, and quite frankly, he had better credentials of running this country. The mindset of a politician with years of being a politician, being the best candidate for any given race is such a primal way of thinking. In fact, most of us now see that as a negative. And we did in 2016 as well, because it is a negative. If the country is doing poorly and you've been a politician all that time, well, it just reflects poorly on you. But you look at a guy like Donald Trump, who has built a massive empire, which is why they tried to bring down his massive empire any way they could. And you say, of course he can run a country. Of course he can, because America is one big fucking business. It's certainly, and by the way, Hillary, the FBI gave you a love tap, okay? They gave you a little love tap. They didn't really look into you that much. Come on. Haven't been told it is cream-based. Clinton skips the soup and goes for the jumbo lump crab cake with salad, which I duplicate. I tell Clinton that on learning of her defeat in 2016, my then 9-year-old daughter stopped taking my word as gospel. I had somewhat rashly reassured her that Trump would not win. It's really remarkable how often I'm told stories like that and how often I'm reading something like a work of fiction set in modern times, and 2016 is a traumatic event. Oh, the horror. It's so funny because guess what? You look at how the country is now and you look at it how it was under Trump. Really? It's that traumatic? So in other words, you don't give a fuck about evil or wrongdoings when liberals do it. That's what you're trying to say here, huh? What? This country is filled with buffoons. It really is. It's almost, let's see, etological, Clinton says. It is a break in history. It's such a piece of unfinished business. Is it, Hillary? Who the fuck would vote for you again? Come on. With an eye on likely coming reversal of Roe v. Wade, the 1973 Supreme Court ruling that enshrined women's right to abortion, I asked Clinton how far such unfinished business is likely to go. If you go down the rabbit hole of far-right intellectuals, you see that birth control, gay marriage, all of it is at risk, she replies. See, that's funny as well, because if we look from a 1,000-yard, from 1,000-foot view and assess all of this stuff, if you remember, Hillary, gay marriage was voted illegal twice in the state of California. Why? Well, because blacks and Hispanics voted it down just like whites did, or conservative whites. Let me rephrase: conservative whites. The government was the one that said no, that shall not be. So, is it really at risk regarding the will of the people, or is it at risk because of you guys? And number one, that's a big assumption that it's at risk at all, given how terrible things are going with LGBTQT and Drag Queen Story Hour, you name it. But again, that's just a huge assumption. Again, the most liberal state voted to have it be illegal twice. What is the Christian rights endgame? I ask. Presumably, they would not be able to create the theological dystopia depicted in Margaret Atwood's 1985 novel, The Handmaid's Tale. Oh, oh my gosh. This is exactly how women see the world. My question triggers a passionate response. Clinton speaks about how some states will make it illegal to abort after rape and incest if Roe v. Wade is overturned. Again, anybody who looks at this with a fair eye will say two things. Number one, one wrong doesn't make a right. In other words, one wrong doesn't mean that you can commit another wrong against the baby. Okay, regarding abortion. I did that video where I watched one of the preachers debate abortion, and he said, if you are for women's rights, then you should be against abortion, because the same line of thinking that you're against for the reason why you're against a woman getting raped is because you are against her doing something against her will, which is something that happens to a baby in the fetus. Furthermore, way back when, the left's argument was, well, it doesn't feel pain. It doesn't feel pain. It's just a clump of cells, which we now know is total bullshit. Total bullshit. We know that the fetus feels pain as early as 10 weeks. Weeks. So, I mean, come on. What are we even doing here? And really, if it went down to the states, would that be so bad? Oh, and the other thing I forgot to say, and the left hates it when this argument is brought up, but yes, incest and rape is a small portion of the abortions. 90%, if not more, of the abortions are done because the woman just does not want the baby. But of course, you can't say that because it casts a bad light on women. Instead, what we should be doing is finding ways to help these women bring these babies to term. That's what we should be doing. would require the woman to get the permission of her rapist. By the way, the pastor says, in the video where I told you guys about the argument that he made, he says that in the cases of the rapist should die. Now, me personally, I'm not sure that I'm for that, given how often women lie about this stuff. But it shows that we on this side, we are not totally, unsympathetic about that occurring. We are very sympathetic about that. Very sympathetic. Others plan to criminalize women who have the procedure in states where it is legal. The level of insidious rulemaking to further oppress women almost knows no end, Clinton says. You look at this, and how could you not but think that Margaret Atwood was a prophet? By the way, and just, look into this if you don't believe me, but abortion clinics where they are the most pronounced are in some of the poorest areas. In other words, it affects minorities. And for a group of people who self-righteously says that they care about these minorities so much, they sure like killing their babies. And the person who started Planned Parenthood was a pronounced racist. She's not just a brilliant writer, she was a prophet. Clinton adds that when she was a senator, she voted against the confirmation of Samuel Alito, one of the court's most conservative judges. I found Alito was the kind of young man who, when he was at Princeton, called against co-education, railed against letting women into the eating clubs. Yeah, because it sucks having you guys there. And that was all in the background that I read, she recalls. He honestly struck me as one of those very self-righteous types seeking to remake society. Takes one to know one, Hillary. All right, let's get through this bullshit. Clinton asked for extra salad with her crab cakes and more iced tea. Oh my gosh, man. It's so funny how on one hand, they're talking about women's rights, but on the other hand, fucking Hillary is ordering crab cakes at one of the, expensive restaurants in the world. Man, these people are the worst, man. They really are. They are the worst. They are disgusting. We got to beat these people. You guys should have more wine, she says, which we both reluctantly decline. I ask, yeah, because that would make women and their wine habit look bad. She says, which we both reluctant. I ask whether things would have turned out differently had Clinton not Trump won in 2016. Her answer makes it clear she thinks the January 6, 2021 storming of Capitol Hill to stop Joe Biden's certification would simply have happened 4 years earlier. Oh, God, these people are the worst, man. So self-indulgent. Literally within hours of the polls closing in 2016, we had so much evidence pouring in about voters being turned away in Milwaukee and not being able to vote in Detroit, she replies. What a fucking joke. What a joke. These states were run by Republicans. No, they weren't. Oh my God. That's what made Trump's victory there astounding, is they were not. They were run by liberals. So there was no way to find out the truth about any of them. I also believe in peaceful succession and transition and all of that. At that point, she says she was unaware of Cambridge Analytica and the role of social media algorithms. All of that stuff was convincing people that I was a murderer or a child trafficker. Yeah, you are, Hillary. Yeah, you are. She reminds me that she won the popular vote by nearly 3 million, but lost the Electoral College by 78,000 votes. Biden won the popular vote by more than 7 million, but barely scraped the Electoral College by 43,000 votes. That tells you everything you need to know about Republican strategy for 2024. Even in his reptilian brain, Trump has to know that he lost this time. He refuses to accept it because it wasn't supposed to happen. Does she think Trump will run in 2024? I think if he can, he's going to run again, Clinton replies. Follow the money with Trump. He's raised about $130 million sitting in his bank account that he used to travel around to fund organizing against elections. I don't know who will challenge him in the Republican Party. Could you imagine running again? I ask. No, out of the question. Clinton replies, good. Yes. That's the fucking smartest thing you said this whole interview, Hillary. First of all, I expect Biden to run. He certainly intends to run. It would be very disruptive to challenge that. The fact that Biden will be 81 at the next election is nevertheless a source of rising angst among some Democrats. And speculation about whether he might step down. Clinton does not get around to her second point about why she will not seek high office again. The first seems final enough. Good. That's good to know. We agreed to share the restaurant's signature apple pie, but it is so gigantic that Clinton balks at the sight. Oh, wow, that's so big. I'm done. Serve him and then yourself. Clinton suggests to Meryl. Clinton's bowl of berries never arrives. Oh, no. Can you imagine at the restaurant, somebody is like, fuck that chick, man. I'm not going to get her berries. No berries for you, Hillary. No berries for you. She knows these lunches are meant to be conversational and fires off several questions. The most relevant of these is how I would compare Henry Kissinger, who recently turned 99, with the late Brzezinski. Kissinger's lifelong rival and friend, whose biography I'm researching, I discern a subtext about her question. Kissinger recently said that Ukraine might have to concede territory to Putin to bring the war to an end. I say that on balance, Brzezinski had a keener grasp of the Soviet Union's weakness. I fully agree, says Clinton. You've got to save to give Kissinger credit for longevity, if nothing else. He just keeps going. He never thought Brzezinski had a romantic view of the Russians the way Kissinger did. He values his relationship with Putin so much. All right, let's get Putin once said of Clinton, it's better not to argue with women. Yes, he was very sexist towards me. We had some interesting, even helpful interactions in private. And then the press would be invited in and he would say something insulting about America. Yeah, worse than the terrible things you say about it. He would then manspread for effect. Look at all this manspread right here. Look at all this manspread power. Look at all this manspread power. Look at all this man spread power. And then look at this fucking potato. Oh my gosh. We are standing on the precipice. Hold on. He would then manspread for effect. Yeah, because I'm sure that's what he was thinking is, how about I manspread all over you, Hillary? How about I manspread all over you, Hillary? Let's get Bill in here too. Bill, come here. I'm manspreading all over Hillary. Oh my gosh. In her view, Putin's only realistic path to victory in Ukraine would be Trump's reelection in 2024. If Trump had won in 2020, he would have pulled out of NATO. I have no doubt about that, she says. My espresso arrives. Clinton asked for more iced tea. Damn, how much iced tea you need, Hillary? I cannot allow the lunch to end without questioning the direction of her party. I say that Democrats seem to not be going out of their way to lose elections by elevating activist causes, notably the transgender debate, which are relevant only to a small minority. What sense does it make to depict J.K. Rowling as a fascist? To my surprise, Clinton shares the premise of my question. And that's a great question, honestly. And it's true. But that is the foundation of liberalism, is a hierarchy of victims. And by the end of it, someone like J.K. Rowling, a devout liberal, ends up being a fucking fascist. And that is why, liberalism is not failing because of anything conservatives are doing, or neocons, I should say. They're failing because they just suck. They're terrible. They're failing all on their own. We are standing on the precipice of losing our democracy, and everything that everybody else cares about then goes out the window, she says. Look, the most important thing is to win the next election. The alternative is so frightening that whatever does not help you win should not be a priority. Hey, I got to give it to liberals. They will do whatever it takes to win. They really will. Another instance is the defund the police campaign. She adds, you need accountable measures, but you also need policing. It doesn't even pass the common sense politics test to not believe that. Some positions are so extreme on both the right and the left that they retreat to their corners. Yeah, Hillary, you're a part of that. You are a fucking far leftist weirdo. Politics should be the art of addition, not subtraction. See, that's where we disagree. Hillary sees government as one big thing of just adding and adding and adding until it's so bloated that it shits its britches. It has been an intensive 100 minutes, but I am not sure I have persuaded Clinton to take off her proverbial mask. If we stride across the business restaurant floor, Clinton waves gamely and returns a barrage of shouted greetings. Okay, yet again, you're saying she's fake, okay? I noticed that she did not bring an actual one, an omission still viewed askance in some circles. That's hilarious. Honestly, I thought that what he was saying about the mask was a metaphor, but I think he's talking about a legitimate mask. A legitimate mask. These people still care about the mask thing so much because at the core of it, they care about power, the power it gives them. You should take the glass of wine next time, I suggest, as we walk to her mini motorcade. Motorcade. Hillary's motorcade. I can happily agree to that, she says. Then she vanishes behind tinted glass. Hillary vanishes behind tinted glass, tinted glass, tinted glass. All right, guys, that's it. Hillary says that we are losing our democracy, but she believes that for a multitude different reasons than someone like me does. See, I look at it and say we're losing our democracy because of someone like her, someone who pushes anti-free speech, anti-freedom, anti-self-preservation and individualism. And, I see Biden as an extension of her. I mean, I see them very much one and the same. And Hillary, listen, if we're losing our democracy, a big portion of it has to do with you and your husband. Okay, let's just be honest here. Let's be honest about that, shall we? All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Hillary Clinton, go back to the sewers in which you came. America is done with you. I'm done with you. So glad she did not win. So glad she didn't win. Hilarious article, though. Hope she had enough tea. That's going to do it for me today. Thank you for joining the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. I will see you guys next time. Be sure to hit that subscribe button because, well, subscribing makes you feel good. At the very least, like, comment, share. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. In facts or feelings, because your feelings don't matter. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.